Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with another interesting topic on Vedic astrology today. And today we'll be talking about horary astrology. And not exactly, we'll not be talking about horary astrology. We'll be talking about some important information we get from the ancient scriptures in regards to horary astrology and in regards to interpreting a chart based on horary astrology. For people who are not familiar with horary astrology, it's actually called Prashna Jyotish. Prashna means question, Jyotish means astrology in Sanskrit. So it actually happens when a person has a question to an astrologer, and the astrologer, based on his question and the time of his question, casts a chart, and based on that chart he comes up with an analysis and the answer to his question. Okay, so in this case the birth chart of a person, the original birth chart of a person, is not taken into consideration. It's totally unrelated. What the astrologer will do is that he is going to cast a birth chart at the time of the question, meaning which, he'll just he'll create a birth chart and he'll put in the planets transiting at that particular time of the question. Okay, and then he'll analyze that chart, and then he's gonna, based on the analysis, he's going to give an answer, as to something will happen or not. Say, for example, somebody comes up with a question that, will I get married or not? So the astrologer is not going to refer to his birth chart. He's just going to create a birth chart based on the planets transiting at the time of the question, and the place also has to be taken into consideration. And then he will cast that birth chart, and then he'll put in the planets what they are transiting, and based on that birth, it's not a birth chart, he's gonna cast the chart, and based on the chart he's gonna give an answer to that according to whatever analysis he has come up with. So that's a very important branch. It's not a branch, it's a part of Vedic astrology itself. It's a very important tool for interpretation, for finding answers, and it's a very tricky thing. A lot of astrologers feel that horary astrology is not accurate, but some people have firm belief in it, and it's all based on your own experiences and based on how much information you can get out of the ancient scriptures. So this is a video about a very important information from the ancient scriptures, and like I've always mentioned, that my videos are a direct reference from the ancient scriptures. So this information is coming from the ancient scriptures, and based on this information, not just information, this is one of the information which can be used to interpret a chart based on horary astrology. Okay, so what the ancient scriptures have mentioned is that every planet, excluding Rahu and Ketu, these 7 planets, Sun until Saturn, they've been given rulership of certain periods. And now please do not confuse these periods with the dashas, or the periods and sub-periods, the dashas and the antardashas. They've got nothing to do with this period which we are discussing today. So the planets, according to the ancient scriptures, have been given rulership over periods in general terms. Okay, so not in specific terms related to the dashas. And this information in regards to the periods ruled by the planets can be an effective tool in the analysis of a chart which we have created based on horary astrology or Prashna Jyotish. Okay, so say, for example, if you cast a chart and try to interpret it based on horary astrology, or if it's a prashna or a question put in by somebody, and you cast a chart, and the answer to that question is related to a particular planet. Okay, so the timing of that event, that answer, is going to be related to the rulership of the period of that particular planet. Okay, so like for example, the planet Sun has been given rulership of an ayana. Okay, now we'll just get into what an ayana is. Okay, it's actually it's a solar year, and I'll just get into that in a second. So based on the analysis you've done of that chart which you have created based on the question put forward, you can give an answer that, you know, this event is going to happen in this ayana or this solar year, so as to say. Like for example, moon, the planet moon has been given a rulership of a mahurta, and I'm going to get into what a mahurta is. It is actually 2 ghatis or 48 minutes. Okay, so if the answer to that question on the chart which you've just created is related to moon, then you will interpret in a way that you will say, okay, this event is going to happen, or the answer to that question will happen in 48 minutes. Okay, so this is how you know, based on the rulership of the planets in terms of periods, you can very effectively interpret the chart which you have created based on Horary astrology, and interpret the timing of the event. So first we need to understand as to what planet rules over what time, or what period rather. Okay, and then you'll be able to understand. But I just gave you a little, you know, in advance I've given you how you will be interpreting the chart, the horary chart, based on the information you've gotten from the ancient scriptures in regards to the rulership of the planets over periods. Okay, so the timing can be very effectively and very accurately analyzed and interpreted, and you can give a good answer to that. So let's first find out what are the periods and what are the planets who rule over those periods. Okay, so the periods given in the ancient scriptures to us will be slightly different. We'll not be talking about the 12 months as we observe in modern day and age, but you know, there were benchmarks in the ancient scriptures, in the ancient times rather, as to what a period is, and then based on that period you can make an interpretation or an analysis, an accurate analysis for as far as the timing of the event is concerned. When will this event happen? If I'm going to give you an answer, like for example, if a woman or a man comes say, well, will I get married or not? So then you'll be able to interpret, okay, yes, you will get married, or you will not get married, and then if you get married, it's going to happen within this period of time, based on the information we've got from the ancient scriptures regarding the rulership of planets over periods. Okay, and once again, do not confuse these periods with any kind of a dasha system, a Vimshottari or a Shtoshtari or Yogini or any kind of a dasha. Okay, so let's first see what planets and what periods are related to that planet. Okay, so let's start with the planet Sun. Now the Sun, according to the ancient scriptures, rules over a solar year, or an ayana as it's called in Sanskrit. Okay, so what is an ayana? So a solar year actually is divided into 2 ayanas, and it starts from when Sun enters into the zodiac sign of Capricorn. Now what is Capricorn? Capricorn in Sanskrit is Makara. So whenever Makara Sankranti happens, it's a very important event when Sun enters the zodiac sign of Capricorn, or Makara Sankranti happens, and that's actually the beginning of the solar year. Okay, so Sun has a rulership of solar year, and this solar year is called ayana, and this ayana is divided into 2 parts. Okay, so from the Sun's entrance into the sign of Capricorn, the first ayana starts. Okay, and this is called Uttara Ayana in Sanskrit. It's also called Saumya Ayana. Okay, so when the planet Sun remains in the first 6 signs starting from Capricorn, it is called Uttara Ayana or Saumya Ayana. So it enters into Capricorn, moves into Aquarius, then it moves into Pisces, then it moves into Aries, then it moves into Taurus, and then it moves into Gemini, and it finishes the first part of the Ayana or the Uttara Ayana, where the movement of Sun is northward direction, as it's explained in the ancient scriptures. And then once it enters Cancer, then it comes, the movement actually is the southern direction. Okay, so as per astronomy, of course, we know that there is no movement of Sun. Sun is static. It doesn't move at all. But we take Sun's movement into consideration because we are sitting here on the planet Earth, and the relative terms, Sun is moving. So once again, the Sun rules over Ayana. Ayana is nothing but a solar year, and solar year is divided into 2 Ayanas or 2 parts, and it starts when Sun enters into the zodiac sign of Capricorn or on Makar Sankranti day, and it stays there until it moves from Gemini to Cancer. So as soon as it moves into Cancer, its movement is southern direction, southward direction, and that is called Dakshina Ayana. So the Uttara Ayana is first 6 zodiac signs when the Sun's movement is northward, and the Dakshina Ayana is when the Sun's movement is southern direction, in the southern direction, and it is called Dakshina Ayana. And the ancient scriptures describe that the auspicious period for any kind of a auspicious activity should be undertaken in the Uttara Ayana, because it's ruled by the Devas, and the Sun is bright. But when Sun is moving southern direction and it's not bright, then Sun becomes very weak and it starts to give defective rays. Okay, so when it moves southern direction, no auspicious activity should be undertaken in general terms. So that doesn't mean that when Sun is in the Dakshina Ayana or it's moving southward, you will not, have any kind of a marriage or any kind of an auspicious activity. No, but in general terms. So this is how Sun's rulership of a period is described. Once again, Sun's rulership is over 1 Ayana. 1 Ayana is nothing but a solar year, and the solar year is divided into 2 parts. First part Uttara Ayana, the second part Dakshina Ayana. First part Uttara Ayana when Sun moves northwards, which is auspicious. Second part is Dakshina Ayana when Sun moves in the southern direction, southwards, and it's weak, and its rays are weak, and it is considered inauspicious. Okay, so that is the rulership of the planet Sun as has been described in the ancient scriptures. Then the planet Moon rules over Muhurta, and Muhurta is actually made up of 2 ghatis, as it's called in Sanskrit, or 48 minutes, as has been calculated and interpreted in recent times by astrologers. Okay, so this is the rulership as far as the period is concerned. So Moon rules over 48 minutes only. So whenever you do a horary chart or a horary analysis or a prashna chart, then if Moon is involved, then you can very conveniently say that, okay, this event is going to happen in 48 minutes. Okay, that's how the accuracy in astrology does come in. So like I said, these ancient scriptures give us a lot of input based on what, if we use it intelligently and use our brains, then we can make accurate predictions. Now, as far as the planet Mars is concerned, Mars rules over a period of day and night, both. So 24 hours, so as to say. Okay, and 24 hours or 60 ghatis, as it's been described in the ancient scriptures. And that term, like we have the term for the solar year as ayana, as we have the term for muhurta for 48 minutes. This day and night 24 hours period is called ahoratra in Sanskrit, meaning which it's the day and the night, that 24 hours period, and the rulership of that day and night has been given to the planet Mars. So for example, if you cast a horary chart and do a prashna analysis, and if the planet Mars is involved, then you can very conveniently say, okay, if the planet Mars is given an answer to that question, then you can say, okay, this event is going to happen in 24 hours. That's how astrologers have been able to be accurate in their predictions. Okay, then as far as the planet Mercury is concerned, it rules over ritus, and ritus are actually seasons. Ritu is a Sanskrit word for seasons. So there are 6 seasons in a year. Shishir is one season, Basanta is another season, Grishma is another season, Varsha is another season, Sharad is another season, and Hemant is another season. Okay, so as we have seasons in the West, spring, autumn, summers, winters, we have seasons. As far as the Vedic scriptures are concerned, we have Vedic seasons. So there are 6 seasons in a year, and there are 12 months in a year. So each season rules over approximately 2 months, and the rulership of the seasons is Mercury. So for example, if you chart a horary chart or a prashna chart, and the answer to that question comes through the planet Mercury, and Mercury is involved, then you can very conveniently say, okay, this event will happen or will not happen in 2 months. Okay, so the time period can be given very conveniently. Okay, well, you know, you may get married in 2 months, or you may not get married in 2 months. It may happen. So the event, whatever the event is, just not marriage, any question, the event involved will be 2 months, or that time is critical for the next 2 months. If the question is about a particular event, will that happen or not? But the time period you can very, very accurately, you know, predict based on this information. Now then, there's something called a masa. Masa is a Sanskrit word for a sunrise to a Sunday is 1 day. So one masa is 1 month. Okay, so it's 30 days, which is 1 masa, or 1 month rather. So the rulership of 1 masa or 1 month or 30 days has been given to be ruled by the planet Jupiter. So if you cast a prashna chart or a horary chart, and you have to give the timing, then you can say, well, this event is going to happen in 30 days. Okay, or 1 month or 1 masa, because the planet Jupiter is involved here. Okay, then comes and then comes something called a paksha. So what's a paksha? We know that there's a time of a waxing moon, and then there's a time of a waning moon. Okay, when moon waxes, it goes on for 15 days, and that's called the Shukla Paksha, until it becomes a Purnamasi, or full moon night, and then it starts to wane for the next 15 days until it reaches something called a Amavasya, which is dark night, dark moon night, so as to say. So that's a Paksha. And those pakshas, which are 15 days pakshas, are ruled by the planet Venus. So if you draw, or if you cast a horary chart, and if an event's answer is given through the planet Venus, then you can say, well, this will happen in 15 days, because the 15-day period is paksha, and that is ruled by the planet Venus. So pakshas, or 15-day period, is ruled by the planet Venus. Okay, so far we have discussed solar year divided into 2 parts, Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. Moon and Uttarayana and Dakshinayana are 6 months each. Moon, 48 minutes. Mars, 1 day, which includes day and night. Mercury, 1 season, which means about 2 months. And then Masa, which is about a month, ruled by Jupiter, and then Paksha, which is 15 days, which is ruled by the planet Venus. Okay, and then it is Varsha. Okay, so what is Varsha? Varsha means year. It's not Varsha as a rain, but Varsh as a year. So 1 year period has been given in the ancient scriptures, and the rulership of that planet is, the rulership of that period is the planet Saturn. So in case you draw a Prashna chart and Saturn is involved, or you're getting an answer through Saturn, then you can say, okay, well, this event is going to happen in 1 year because the planet Saturn is involved. Okay, so this was a little video on the planetary period that's given to us in the ancient scriptures and how to use it as a tool as far as horary astrology is concerned. And in the meanwhile, I will recommend subscribe to my channel. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and check out my website. There is a link below, and I will see you with an interesting topic on Vedic astrology very soon. Goodbye.